Hi, my name is Rusty, and this is my submission for 5.2a, Racialized Society. Emerson and Smith define a racialized society as, in part, one that allocates different rewards by race, according to location 190. In location 3043, they define racialized society as a society wherein race matters profoundly for life experiences, life choices, and social relationships. They say in location 160 that in a post-civil rights United States, a racialized society is one in which intermarriage rates are low, residential separation and socioeconomic inequality are the norm, our definitions of personal identity and our choice of intimate associations reveal racial disinvectiveness, and where we are never unaware of the race of a person in whom we interact. Basically saying that what racialized society means is that race matters and we always are paying attention to it. They say that choice and freedom are two of the dominant American values that today maintain that racialized society, according to location 256. The question, in what ways is claiming color blindness counterproductive? If we are claiming color blindness, we try to see everyone as the same. And by doing that, we don't think about societal problems. We don't think about history. We don't think about other things like privilege and advantages or disadvantages. We cause one to look not for and see effects of races in everyday activities. It breaks things down to the individual level and doesn't see things in societal ways. And it does not recognize the difference in privileges, advantages, and histories. See, one of the consequences, according to Emerson and Smith, of a thoroughgoing evangelical individualism is a tendency to be ahistorical, to not grasp fully how history has had an influence on the present. That was in location 1658. See, what happens with color blindness is we miss the opportunity of seeing beautiful things from different histories, different stories, different family values coming together as a beautiful thing in the body of Christ. In my opinion, why does talking about race or ethnicity often becomes difficult or volatile? First of all, I think it's because it brings up feelings of shame. We don't like the feeling of shame, and so we try to avoid the feeling of shame. And so it makes us uncomfortable. There seems to be secret rules of things that we talk about and don't talk about in society. And race seems to fall in those rules. Many of us have had a bad experience in the past when race was brought up and people that we were around either got very, very uncomfortable or just did not want to engage. In my life, I don't have a lot of safe spaces where I can talk about this issue. I have a feeling that I don't know enough. I grew up and continue to live in a very white socioeconomic time or place. I don't have a lot of interracial experiences, multicultural experiences. I seek those out, I look for those, I'm trying to develop those, but at this point I don't have many, so I don't feel like I can speak with authority. And quite frankly, I'm just a little bit chicken. I do feel uncomfortable, and I'm not willing to step into that uncomfortability. According to Emerson and Smith, in what ways does the organization and structure of the church contribute to the problem of racialization? They say most white evangelicals, directed by their cultural tools, fail to recognize the instrumentalization of racialization in economic, political, education, social, and religious systems. They say that we miss them in the systems that the evangelical church has developed. It says that the paradox is that even if made up of loving, unselfish individuals, the group transmits selfishness, according to location 3123. They say that the organization of American religion in racially homogeneous groups lowers the probability of intergroup mobility, such as through marriage, and heightens the importance of racial boundaries, identities, and other differences between the groups. Although many in the religious community call and work for an end to racial division, the organization of religion into homogeneous groups often undercuts the effects. We often gather in groups of people like us, and we seek to find safety in groups of people like us, and do not break those groups to be able to hear about others. And finally, they say part of the irony in the religion's role is that it's strengthening micro bonds between individuals. Religion contributes to within group homogeneity, heightens its isolation from different groups, and reduces the opportunity for the formation of macro bonds between groups that serve to integrate society. That's in location 3052. By seeking out homogeneous groups of people like us and building strong bonds in those groups, we do not have strong bonds of groups outside of that. Thank you for listening to my answer to 5.2a, Racialized Society.